There's one free agent move that keeps jumping out to me, and honestly, it feels like a Bengals-type swing that actually makes sense. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's risky. But if Cincinnati is serious about fixing the biggest problem holding this team back, Tyler Linderbaum deserves real consideration. Baltimore letting him walk says everything. The Ravens looked at his fifth-year option, $23.4 million fully guaranteed, and decided they couldn't justify it. Not because he isn't talented, but because of cap realities. And that's where the Bengals come in. Cincinnati actually has the flexibility to make a move like this if they choose to prioritize the offensive line. Now, Bengals fans have scars. We all remember the Orlando Brown Jr. experiment. Big name, big money, big expectations, and it didn't end the way anyone hoped. But this situation is different. Linderbaum fits the identity of what this offensive line needs to become. Younger, more athletic, and built to protect a franchise quarterback long-term. Yes, the analytics crowd will point to his PFF grades and raise concerns, especially in pass protection. His run blocking pops, his pass blocking? More inconsistent. But context matters. Blocking for Lamar Jackson is not the same as blocking for Joe Burrow. One offense is built around chaos and constant movement. The other is about timing, rhythm, and trust in the pocket. That difference alone changes how an offensive lineman looks on film. And let's be real, the rest of Baltimore's offensive line hasn't exactly been elite either. Linemen don't exist in isolation. Drop Linderbaum into a Bengals system that emphasizes clean pockets and quick decision-making, and suddenly the evaluation looks very different. Before listening to the latest news, subscribe to the channel, like it, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Let's move on to the new news. At the end of the day, this conversation comes back to one thing: Joe Burrow. If the Bengals want to keep him upright, confident, and comfortable, they have to invest where it matters most. Protecting Burrow isn't optional. It's the foundation of everything Cincinnati wants to be. And moves like this? They're how you show your quarterback you're serious about winning. When you really dig into the tape and the circumstances around his performance, the surface-level numbers start to fall apart. His best stretches didn't come in some perfect, stable offensive environment. They came while the Ravens were rotating quarterbacks, shuffling protection calls, and constantly adjusting their scheme. That kind of instability exposes linemen in ways stats will never show. This is why blindly trusting grading systems can be misleading. Offensive line play is about chemistry, timing, and trust. Three things the Bengals value deeply in how they want to build around Joe Burrow. Cincinnati doesn't need a lineman who looks good in chaos. They need one who can dominate in structure. And that's where his skill set actually becomes more appealing. One thing that does consistently stand out is his run blocking. When you watch him move defenders off their spot, climb to the second level, and create lanes, it's clear why so many league evaluators are high on him. The Bengals' run game has been inconsistent, often forcing Burrow into obvious passing situations. A lineman who can change that balance immediately raises the offense's ceiling. Now, let's be honest, this isn't a bargain signing. This is the type of move that defines an offseason. You don't add a player like this and then sprinkle in a dozen other upgrades. This is a commitment. Cincinnati would be saying, "We are building the offense through protection and physicality." That decision becomes even more relevant when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture of future roster construction. Offensive line talent doesn't flood the market every year. When a proven, high-upside option becomes available, it forces the Bengals to weigh patience versus opportunity. If they believe this move stabilizes the line for the next several seasons, the price becomes easier to justify. Because at the end of the day, the Bengals' path forward is simple: control the trenches, protect Joe Burrow, and let the offense operate on its terms. Everything else is secondary. When you scan the center market with a realistic lens, the list gets thin fast. Yes, there are names out there, but the truth is most of them will never leave their current teams. Front offices protect stability in the middle of the line. That's why, once you remove the unlikely options, only a small handful actually make sense for Cincinnati. And this isn't about panic or forcing a replacement. There's no automatic assumption that the Bengals must move on from anyone already in the building. The real conversation is about flexibility. Cincinnati can create better combinations without tearing everything down. One scenario that stands out is reshaping the interior rather than replacing it. Teddy Karras has experience playing guard and succeeded there earlier in his career. That opens the door to creative alignment options. Slide him to guard. Install a true anchor at center. And suddenly the entire unit feels more stable and physical. Cordell Volson, Fairchild, has shown flashes, and with the right support next to him, his consistency could improve. On the other side, the guard position remains the most uncertain part of the line. Depth is thin, reliability is shaky, and expecting internal development alone is risky. Cincinnati can't afford another season where protection breaks down because the interior collapses. That's why the smartest approach may be balance. Add one premium piece in free agency, then reinforce the depth through the draft with a versatile guard who can swing left or right when injuries inevitably hit. That type of planning keeps the offense functional even when things don't go perfectly. There are veteran names out there, but age and durability matter. The Bengals aren't looking for short-term patches anymore. They need players who can grow with the core of this roster. In the end, Cincinnati faces a choice. They can stand still and hope last year's moves finally click, or they can be proactive and reshape the offensive line with purpose. With a franchise quarterback in place, settling for good enough simply isn't an option anymore.